Check, 1, 2, 3. Hi students, we're going to go over chapter 1, kind of just an introduction to biology today. So this is going to cover introduction to biology and then the characteristics of life, which if you're looking at a textbook would be chapter 1, section 1. So first, a few definitions. Science is basically our continuous effort to discover new things and use our current human knowledge and our current technology to research and then hopefully develop new ideas, new technology, new concepts through that. Basically, if you wanted to abbreviate this down a little bit, it's observing, explaining, and understanding our world, and it does not include supernatural explanations. Okay, so a few other things, a few other terms here. Bio means life, and ology is study of. So anytime you see ology at the end of a word, that's going to be study of whatever came before it. So study of life or organisms, and it will help to answer questions about the natural world, how they work, how they interact with the environment, and how they change over time. So our branches of biology, anatomy looks at internal and external structures. Ecology looks at the interactions between organisms and their environment. We'll be covering that later in this class. Cytology is structure and function of cells, which we will actually be studying in the first few chapters here today, or in this semester. Botany is the study of plants. We don't really spend a lot of time on that in this class, but you could pursue that in a different class. Genetics, we spend quite a bit of time on this actually in this class, and we're going to look at how traits are passed from parent to offspring. Microbiology is studying things that are really small, things you need the microscope to see, and we do this when we study cells in this class. Taxonomy is classification. We'll be looking at in between our evolution and ecology section, and then zoology is the study of animals, which we don't spend much time in this class on that, but you could pursue like a biology 2 class or something like that where you'd study more of that. All right, characteristics of life. So there's 7 characteristics, and an organism needs all 7 characteristics in order to be considered a living thing, or a, at least on this planet, I guess I should say. So we have characteristics of life based on where we live and what we know and our knowledge currently. These could change over time if by chance, we have people go to another planet and discover how life might be different somewhere else, or living things, cellular level or something like that could be different. So first, organisms are made of cells, which we'll get to in chapters really 2 through 8. We're going to talk all about cells. Respond to stimuli. So that means that if something's too hot, it would move away from it, or if something's too cold, it would move away. Or it might move towards something that's favorable. All living things maintain homeostasis. Now this word, homeostasis, very important word for this entire class. Homeostasis is internal stability, so being able to maintain an internal stable condition in your body so that you can survive. Organisms use energy, which is also called metabolism, so that's how they use their energy. I think in humans, a lot of times you hear people say they have a high metabolism or a slow metabolism, and that just determines how quickly you're able to use the energy that you put into your body. All living things grow and develop, so over time mature and go to their adult size. All living things reproduce, and living things can change through time. We're just really just looking at evolution and how organisms change over time. So to explain some of these a little further, homeostasis is going to be a big factor, a big term that we're going to talk about in all of our chapters. So this is one to make sure you know right away from the beginning, and it means stable internal conditions. Some examples, your temperature, internal temperature, water intake, food intake, how that's regulated inside your body, the pH levels inside your body, how those are regulated. Like your heart beats at a regular pace, and then if you were to go run down the hall, it's going to go faster to help stimulate the blood flow through the rest of the body, but then it's going to slow down on its own over time when you get to a resting space. If your heart can't do this, then that's not maintaining homeostasis. So it should be able to slow down on its own. You can do some things to help maybe slow it down, like deep breathing and kind of just slow down your what you're doing. But overall, the body will regulate back to its normal conditions. Metabolism looks at how we have chemical reactions in our body that help to transform energy and materials from the environment. And there's a couple things we're going to get to in chapters 6 and 7. So photosynthesis is converting light energy to chemical energy, which is called ATP. Chemosynthesis is converting chemicals into energy, which still, that energy molecule is ATP. And then cellular respiration converts organic compounds, which we haven't talked about yet. We're going to talk about in chapter 2 and 3. Those are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, and turning that into usable energy, which again is ATP. So hopefully you're noticing this show up here quite a few times. It's going to be a very important part of these first few chapters, and we're actually going to, that energy molecule will show up even when we get to the end of the semester as well. So something to keep in mind. Okay, in class today you're going to take some time to do a comparison of this robot toy, which you'll get to play with a little bit, and then the maple tree to determine what is classified as living and what is not, and how do we classify a living thing that might still be able to do some of the characteristics of life, but maybe not all of them. Okay, so that's the end of Chapter 1, Section 1. Make sure that if you're using the notes packet, you filled that in as well as you went.